In-game live World Cup 2026 action continues right here on SportsGrid. Belgium against Egypt, and this is a big game for me personally, as Belgium are one of just two teams that I did bet to win this World Cup. A 40-1 ticket I thought was one of the best value options on the board. I believe in their attack. I think they have entered tournaments with more hype that maybe didn't match the talent level. I think now the talent level has exceeded the hype. I think their hangovers from what was labeled a golden generation are the right ones. Kevin De Bruyne, Thibaut Courtois. These are world-class players still. But they bring in a new crop, right? Like Doku, like Tielemans from Aston Villa. And I think this is a huge spot for Belgium to get off on the right foot here and make a bit of a statement at this World Cup. Now, to be fair, Belgium are playing, and it's been really interesting how this World Cup has started, where sometimes you're getting the first match being this huge mismatch. It's supposed to be lopsided. Mexico, South Africa, it's the best team in the group playing the worst team in the group. Germany, Curacao. And then there's other instances where you're getting the top two teams going at it right away. Brazil, Morocco, for example. That's what we have here in Belgium, Egypt. Now, there's a gap between Belgium and Egypt, but these are the top two teams within this group. So this isn't supposed to be 4-1 Belgium. The projected scoreline is more 2-1, 2-0, 3-1, right? Like, just a closer, maybe lower scoring game. But again, I think this Belgium attack can get after it. I did play, and I mentioned Tielemans, Doku, and KDB all in the to score or assist market in this game. I think that these are guys that consistently were contributing in the lead up to this tournament and will continue to contribute here on the World Cup stage. I did struggle to feel great about this game in the way that I feel like I have, right or wrong, some of the other matches here at World Cup 2026. I felt very confident that Belgium would score a goal, and probably more than just one. I feel very confident that Egypt tops out at a goal and may end up not scoring. But what does that really get me, right? Belgium double chance isn't really an option here. That's not a play that we can make. Belgium on the money line is pretty expensive. I think a 1-1 draw is on the board. I think if Belgium score twice, they are winning this game. But again, they could potentially win it 1-0 as well. This Egypt attack is hit or miss entering into this match here. So I think we're going to look for some live options, but I felt for me, and of course we're going to get involved, it's World Cup 2026. The way to play it then was spread it out across some of these Belgium attackers, even midfielders. And if Doku assists a De Bruyne goal and this game ends 1-0, we go 2-1 in the game. So I would be more than happy with that result if that is what we get. But speaking of results, I would be remiss if I did not here in our opening segment acknowledge the biggest upset that we have seen so far. And it wasn't a win or a loss, but a draw for the tournament favorite Spain against arguably the worst team in this tournament, Cape Verde. The power ratings suggest this is the biggest mismatch this tournament offers, or at least suggested coming on in. Obviously, that feels different now. And it's a very tricky result, I think, if you're Spain. It's not one where you feel like you won't qualify for the knockout stage. But again, that's not the bar for Spain. The bar is winning this tournament. They felt like the best team in Europe for a couple of years now, and they're supposed to see that through here at World Cup 2026. They finished with a full 2 more expected goals than Cape Verde. 2.29 to 0.29. But the result is the result. And Spain did something that I have mixed feelings on, which was bringing on Lamine Yamal as well as Nico Williams, who both did not get the start. They are both seen as two, certainly in Yamal's case, top guys on this squad. And they were not certain to play. And I think if this scoreline read the way it was projected to read, 4-0 in the 74th minute, I don't think we see these guys enter the game. I think that decision was made in an attempt to get the result. And it still didn't work. They still didn't secure those 3 points. Again, Spain can turn around. Next game, they play Saudi Arabia a week from yesterday, so it'll be a Sunday match, and dominate them and restore all the faith in the world. But that was an incredibly disappointing result. For bettors, I think a bit of a wake-up call. To go from Germany, Curacao to Spain, Cape Verde in a 2-day window there, it is a reminder that it's not always that easy. You appreciate that German result more, 7-1, and you put an eye on Spain here a little bit, but understand, again, just because a team is minus 1,500 on a three-way money line, come on, KDB. Just because a team is minus 1,500 on a three-way money line doesn't mean they're going to win the game, doesn't mean they're going to rip goal after goal after goal. And I've so far bet every game of this World Cup, and we'll see if that continues the whole way through, but I've felt good about a lot of bets, tricky here and there. I felt really good about Cape Verde not scoring. Really good. But it was, at the time, more so a minus 200, minus 220. It did get lower throughout the day, and maybe had I waited a little bit longer, I would have been able to make that wager, straight, whatever it might be. But the point is, I said, okay, I didn't think Spain were going to light it up. I didn't have Spain scoring 5-6 goals on my score sheet. They are of the talent level. They're capable of it, but it's why I didn't lay the spread. But I said, okay, Spain scoring 2 is probably a safe bet. And it was minus 900. Well, they didn't get 1. So, again, I think not only a wake-up call for Spain, but a wake-up here, call for bettors who have now seen, I believe, 2 of the 3 biggest moneyline favorites in Spain and Switzerland against Qatar not win those matches. And maybe reassess a little bit just how confident you can be in some of these top teams, at least how things stand. We are about 8 minutes into Egypt, Belgium. We will be here through the first half on SportsGrid. You have a minus 190 price right now on Belgium on that three-way money line. It did close at about minus 200, maybe a little bit taller depending on where you were, but a total that's dropping already. This game was supposed to go over the 2.5, slightly by juice. It's starting to work its way back. Now we're seeing minus 115 shaded on that under here in this match. We'll see if Egypt can absorb this pressure from Belgium, because that's what's happening right now, and get, some brilliance on the counterattack led by Mo Salah. Most of you, I'm sure, know through his time at Liverpool. Or can Belgium break through and then continue to do that again and again? We will also, of course, talk through your remaining fixtures today with Uruguay and Saudi Arabia, the night match between Iran and New Zealand. It's all happening right here. It is in-game live World Cup 2026 on SportsGrid. In-game live World Cup action 2026, Belgium against Egypt. Joining me now here on SportsGrid, Tom Vecchio. And Tom, let's just start off with, before we get to Spain, Cape Verde, this match going on right now, over 10 minutes in. Did you get involved with this one before kickoff?
I am. I am involved with Kevin De Bruyne, KDB, to either record a goal or an assist. I got that at minus 120 over on DK. I know there are plenty of boosts out there. FanDuel, DK Fanatics, everyone's got boosts. So if you got something to slap on it to get it over plus money, I would absolutely be looking at that. The DK one, I think you can boost it up and get it to plus 105, which is where I did it from the minus 120 up to the plus 105. But he's obviously one of the best players in the world. The golden era for Belgium has certainly passed in that time, but they are still one of the stronger teams in this tournament overall. I'm expecting them to advance out of this group. I know a lot of people are expecting to do so, but they got to get off on the right foot right now as someone's seemingly getting a yellow card. I believe that's on the Egypt side, but a lot going on to start.
Yeah, the expectations for Belgium are certainly to make it through this group. It's one of the reasons that I like this team when we talk about the outright market is they're big favorites here. Egypt, again, are supposed to be the toughest team they face, and they're minus 200 against this team, right? So I think, and when you look at just the tournament as a whole, Tom, and I don't know if you played any of the outright futures, but there's a clear theme through the two teams that I played. It's just, trying to find a comfortable path forward. And now, listen, that's easier said than done with what we saw for Spain earlier on, who were, huge favorites. But it's true of Argentina as well. And Argentina and the gap between the next best team in that group is massive. So it's another reason that I thought, despite the pressure and the weight of being the defending champions, I thought there was real value on Lionel Messi and crew here, Tom. Did you end up playing any, futures here at this World Cup?
I did. The one and only future I've had locked in since December 5th when when pool play, the draw was announced. I have Morocco at 98 to 1 to win it all. This is a team that, I was really impressed with last World Cup. They won AFCON this past few months, obviously due to some technicalities. We know that to be the case, but we can make a case for a lot of different players to arguably be the best attacker in the world. But I think we can make a very strong case for Hakimi to be the literal best defender in the world. And just the system that they play, even though the new head coach has only been there for a couple of months after this point, because they initially lost AFCON. They fired their head coach. Then the technicality then re-awarded them the trophy. They brought in the new head coach, who's a technical mastermind. The way they play defense can stifle any team. And we saw that in the previous World Cup where they are advancing 0-0 through 90 and then getting to penalties and winning in some of those circumstances. So I love a strong defensive team, and that's what they certainly have. And getting through the first game against Brazil with a draw is a huge first step.
Yeah, I think for Morocco, it's funny, sometimes we know this, though, draws can feel very different.
Oh,
and
yeah.
For Morocco, I think they're a lot happier with that. It's funny, Morocco are a lot happier with the result than Brazil, except Morocco probably think they should have won the match. So in some way, they're the ones, like Brazil salvaged a point on a poor performance, but Morocco have to be pleased with how they looked against the favorite of the group and a team who's much shorter than them. When we talk about winning this tournament outright, Morocco, you mentioned 98 to 1 in December. It's 40 to 1 at its most recent look. And getting that result with Brazil suggests, even this was all, I know it was the expected case, but suggests they will be making it out of the group stage here and into that knockout round. So I think that is tempting. I think for Brazil, it's good. But those are two teams, Tom, that I'm very curious how those remaining games look. While I know it won't be against sides of the same quality, can Brazil start to find a rhythm, right? If yes, does that raise our profile of Morocco, right? Were Morocco playing up to the competition in a way, Could they be in for a sleepy spot when we talk about their remaining game? Like, I think that's a really fun set of teams to take a look at, who we certainly expect again to be playing in that knockout stage.
Absolutely. And, this is something that we, discussed off air last week, where it comes down to like, what is the path forward? Who is their expected team to play in the new round of 32, and who they're going to be playing? I find it all very interesting. I think the games coming up tomorrow are super interesting. I know we're not there yet, but how this group shakes out for not only Belgium, Egypt, as we look back to the Morocco-Brazil group, it's all in the balance right now. And to me, no team has really jumped off the page in terms of exceeding expectations. Germany putting up 7 goals, I think everyone expected, but I think things are going kind of as we expected to this point.
I thought Germany would score 3 or 4. I was thinking, I don't know. That was I took a chance on Curacao plus the 3.5.
Okay.
And at 1-1, did I feel smart? And at 6-1, was I not having a good time? Good time. At 7-1, kind of. Well, at that point, I was numb to everything that we were seeing out there. Still scoreless, approaching nearly 20 minutes of action here. But Belgium are controlling possession, certainly look the better of the two teams right now. But you still have to make possession count. You have to make opportunities count. And they've not really been able to do that. I wouldn't say that they're, unlucky to be goalless. Belgium have not had, some clean chance in this game. They've not put a shot on goal just yet, Tom. But they are the team controlling this game right now.
Yeah, and that's what we see a lot of times. I mean, we saw it earlier today. A little bit frustrated with what the Spanish team did or failed to do on offense, but I expect this game to be a lot closer than people realize. And Egypt don't want to turn this into a counter-attacking game and giving Belgium a ton of space.
We're going to take a quick break here, continue to follow the action between Belgium and Egypt. It's Group G, World Cup 2026 on Sport. All right, guys, back right here on SportsGrid, and we missed the goal, but man, it is a goal you don't want to miss. So if you haven't seen it, Mama Soor from Egypt makes this 1-0 their direction with one of the better goals we've seen so far in this tournament here. Now, the line moved pretty quickly to Belgium at a plus price, but people have come in and bet them accordingly. I saw Egypt at plus 180 to win this match. That's now plus 210, plus 220 on the draw, plus 135. Plus 135 right now on Belgium, Tom, following that Egypt goal here. Total now over 2.5, minus 250. Under 3.5 is minus 160. So maybe the books or kind of the odds suggesting this is a 2-1, Belgium finish here. Maybe a 1-1 draw in this match right now, but a huge, huge strike from Egypt to put them in front.
Yeah, and for a lot of people that don't bet soccer, seeing the odds where they are right now, the team being up and still being at a 2-1 price is always a bit shocking. It happens in any other sport, at least in baseball and hockey, are the lower event sports where a team takes the lead, they immediately jump to the favorite. Now, obviously, we're dealing with three outcomes in soccer, obviously, as the draw can come through. But to see a 2-1 price on the team that's leading as we've hit the hydration break in the first half is always a bit interesting to me. What I am looking at right now is the fact that Belgium, no shots on goal, possession's about 50-50. It's 52-48 for Egypt, and yet they're still the favorite at that price, Kev. At what point are we looking to get back in on Belgium, or is plus 135 enough for you? Because I would say I would want it to be a little bit longer. They have not shown me anything that they deserve to be that much of a favorite at my plus 120 now, this far into the first half.
So say that again. I'm sorry, Tom. What are you looking to get here?
At what point do we want to buy into Belgium live on the money line? Because frankly, this point in the 24 minutes in, they don't look like they deserve to be the favorite. They don't have any shots on goal. The possession's 50-50. The expected goals is super low. They have no chances created essentially, and we're still only getting a plus 120 price on them. I would want that to be longer before I buy into Belgium. So at what price do we want to get into Belgium live?
Yeah, I think you want much better. I think for me, I told you, someone who's high on Belgium, I did think that Egypt could pull a draw out here.
Okay.
So I'm not desperate to bet, Belgium plus 130 on the money line right now. I think the pricey team total for Belgium is probably the preference, if I can find what that would be booked at. Minus 125. Like, I'd rather that, because obviously, their defense broke down. The greedy option, and greedy in that it's going to take a lot of patience to get it, is the Belgium double chance. Belgium in a draw.
Okay.
Now that's right now minus 260. We're a ways away from getting that to a range we like, and that probably means, Tom, this is going to have to stay the score line for the rest of this half.
Okay. Have you been targeting the double chance frequently? Has that been one of your go-to to this point?
I have played the double chance with a few teams pre-match, like Bosnia, as well as Japan the other day against the Netherlands, with some success. I have not, I don't believe, bet a double chance live.
Mm-hmm.
Those were some pre-match wagers. But I just think for me, Tom, like, it was for whatever reason, this game, more than any others that we've had so far at the World Cup, was the one where I'm like, man, I don't know what I like here, because the thing that I was like confident in was Belgium weren't going to lose the game. But I'm like, that's not a bet, right? Minus 800 pre-game belt is not a bet, but now we're going to get, minus 200 soon enough, you would think. Here's the thing though, Tom, it's not dropping that much. I think a combination of how people are betting this match live and Belgium having the ball and they're attacking third, that bet may not come into play. So I may have to, find something else here, or we'll see if something else sticks out to us live. We've had some success, corners, cards, like
Right.
shots on goal, right? I think those are going to be things that we're going to have to circle up here as well. But we've got an upset to watch now between Egypt and Belgium on SportsGrid.
Talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of the spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
For Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time and he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie. If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get them. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get them, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
It is a great time to be a sports fan with the World Cup going on. We did, though, just lose both the Stanley Cup final and the NBA finals over the weekend. And I say lose because, what series? Really, the both of them were sensational, fun as bettors, fun as fans. Let me ask you quickly, Tom, what was your reaction and biggest takeaway from the Stanley Cup final win as the Canes, who looked like they were going to be on the back foot in that series, really put the pedal to the metal and won that series in 6, closing it out last night in Las Vegas?
My main takeaway is congrats to them. This is a team that truly deserved it. And, I've said this time and time again, to various people, but over the past few years, they were an amazing team. They have been absolutely an amazing team. They've just been stopped by the Panthers, who were simply better. The Panthers have been a mini dynasty over the past few years, not including this one. But you go to a Stanley Cup final, you lose, and then you win back-to-back. They've been absolutely unbelievable. And the Canes had really been a 1B to their 1A, but the Panthers were just better. When it was all said and done, they beat them in multiple series. But it's not as if the Canes came out of nowhere. They're a team that have done things right. They've recruited good players. They've scouted good players. They've made big trades. They tried to get Mikko Rantanen, or they did get Mikko Rantanen last year. They couldn't re-sign him. So they had a trade, and they got Logan Stankoven from Dallas, who had been unbelievable throughout the playoffs for them this season. And they've done things the right way. And they finally had a clean path to the conference finals. Panthers didn't make it, and they came through, and they did things with a great system. And the goalie change clearly didn't matter for them because they have such a good defensive system and good quality players top to bottom. And you can interchange them. And I think it's a lot about, same thing with a lot of NBA comparisons that you can make. is I like to see NBA teams that can throw out multiple wings at you. And the Knicks were kind of that. It's like Bridges had a great game. Then it was Josh Hart. And then you have Shamet coming off the bench. And then Alvarado's coming off the bench, where you get players that interchange and can do multiple things that it's tough for an opposing team to stop them.
The goalie change, do you think was
necessary? 100%.
So you think it saved them?
If they did not make that change, Vegas was going to win the series. I will go to the grave believing that. It's obviously a bit of an exaggeration, but I think that was the absolute right move to make. Not every coach would do that, but it was the thing to do, and it propelled them forward.
What did you make of the Conn Smythe?
It was fine. I don't have a strong take either way. You know, I know you can make the argument for a number of different players, but I have no real issues with it. Most years I don't have an issue with it. Cale Makar deserved to win it when the Avs won it. I know we're going to see, the conversation about McDavid when he won it when they didn't actually win, but I generally don't have issues with it year in and year out.
I think for me, but it's why I ask you. It read as if an award that we hear all the time is about the full postseason ended up just being about the Stanley Cup final. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't about the full postseason. Would you say that is fair?
I think that's it's a fair argument.
Had a point in every single Stanley Cup game. He was, except for the closeout, ironically.
Right.
I mean, he was largely uninvolved, at least from a points perspective, prior to the Stanley Cup final.
It kind of reminds me of, was it last year when Brad Marchand and Sam Bennett, where they went back and forth, they were scoring like every game in the conference finals and then in the finals. But as long as you're making those big impact goals, that's what voters are going to matter. Put as saying that matters. If you don't score in the opening round for 4 straight games, but you show up in the bigger moments, then I guess that's what matters for voting.
Jordan Staal had 7 points in the Cup final, 5 in the rest of the postseason.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't bet it, okay? But Tom, I do get annoyed when we, bend what these awards are supposed to be. Makes it tough on us as bettors, and I'm someone who enjoys betting and talking these awards, right? And Staal was very clearly worthy of the Conn Smythe Trophy based on the Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
He does not seem to be worthy based on the entirety of the postseason. Now, what I think it really boiled down to, as someone who was following the race a little bit, Carolina didn't really have someone who was worthy. Freddie Anderson was the favorite on that team entering in and got benched into the Cup final. And they weren't going to give it to Mitch Marner for losing in 6, despite the fact that he had 7 more points than the next closest player in the whole postseason, right? It just wasn't going to happen. If the series would have gone 7, Marner probably wins it. Just same way what McDavid did. And again, Marner didn't have a McDavid level postseason, but just, the down years, some quick series, and, that's just sometimes how it goes. But I did think it was interesting to see Staal come away with the Conn Smythe. Update here right now at World Cup 2026, Belgium 0, Egypt 1 on the score sheet here just before that 20-minute marker. They are plus 175 to win this match. Plus 165, though, for Belgium. Still the favorites. Plus 210, though, for a draw. And that's going to be a number that continues to fall here, Tom. Belgium, they've not really put anything super dangerous forward. I believe in the talent, but I certainly can't suggest they're controlling the game and deserve better. No, this is a totally fine score line right now.
And that's what I've been looking at is, the possession has flipped a little bit. Last time we checked, it was 58-48 in favor of Egypt. It's now 55-45. The issue to this point is that Belgium still has no shots on goal. So they're controlling the ball. They're starting to create some chances, but they're not actually coming through with shots on goal. And this is obviously different than what we saw this morning or, early this afternoon with Spain, where they were getting some shots on goal. They just weren't coming through. So the double chance number is now sitting at, what is it? It was just off the board. It was just minus 240 or so for Belgium and draw. What's the number you're going to be looking for? Because if Belgium is continuing to not actually get shots through, but still continue to control the ball, I have a tough time getting there. It's at minus 230 now.
Yeah. I'm not sure. The minus 230 is discouraging for me because it means we're going to be minus 200, I think, at the break.
10 minutes, yeah.
At that point, we're probably going to have to get to the 60-minute mark for it to feel bettable. And my willingness to bet it might be different than others, right?
Okay.
I might be ready to go at, I don't know, like minus 170. Like I'm starting to think about it probably at minus 170. But here's the thing. To some degree, like your confidence in this team will drop if we play another 30 minutes of this match without this team scoring, right? Like to some degree, I think
scoring
could score.
Yeah, it's for me to be more about the offensive pressure, which is what I want to see shots on goal. I want to see them peppering, as they are now approaching the box. I want to see them actually creating some threat on offense, because that will break through eventually. At least you would like to expect from an expected goals perspective. But if they're just getting the possession and then they're getting stopped once they reach the box, I just can't buy into them at a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably their best control period they've had so far in this game, but they still can't really get a shot off cleanly.
No,
it's just not, they're just not able to control it right now and, get through this Egyptian defense. So again, we're going to take our glances here. The one thing is, man, Egypt keep committing some fouls. They've already got a couple of yellows to their names, so I'm going to keep an eye on here on
talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of the spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
For Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time, and he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie. If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get them. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get them, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
In-game live right here on SportsGrid. We're following along with Belgium and Egypt right now, and Egypt have shifted to the favorites in this match. Plus 155, plus 190 Belgium, 2-1 for the draw. So that Egypt number starting to move here. I don't know. I still think Belgium will find themselves here, within it. I think what is interesting is the cards, and if I can find this, the yellow cards already against Egypt, Tom, have to be a little bit concerning. I know these teams will be careful, but it's pretty early, I think, to be sitting up with like multiple defenders on yellow right now.
Yeah, of course it is. I will say they are Egypt. The one thing that they're doing well right now is they're getting some good counterattack chances. They're not converting them all into shots, but they are getting some good counterattacks. And I think that will only increase as the game goes on. If Belgium's going to have to continue to push, they have to ramp up the offensive pressure. If they're going to continue to push, they're going to be susceptible to those counterattacks. And the last thing that they want to see is Mo Salah in one-on-one with a chance to extend the lead to 2-0. So they're going to have to sit back. They're going to have to mind their defense and not pick up another yellow card. Because we have to remember that these pile up, and as the tournament goes on, it can cause a player to miss a match. But this early first half, it really just comes down to the subs that Egypt makes, and will they be more defensive minded or will they be more offensive minded if we get to that point?
Yeah, I think Belgium are starting to really settle into this game, though, just kind of from what I'm seeing here. I do want to ask you, Tom, we talked Stanley Cup final about the NBA Finals. I didn't get to really talk to you about the NBA Finals on the way in, certainly now here on the way out. What were you expecting heading into this series between the Knicks and the Spurs?
I was not expecting it to be quick. I expected it to be, 6 games, maybe pushing to 7. That's, really where I was anticipating in that 6 margin. I thought the number on the Knicks was good. I didn't think it was amazing, pre-series, pre-flop in terms of their series price. I was expecting a little bit more from San Antonio. Maybe it's just the fact that they're a young team. I just needed to see a bit more from their role players to step up and someone to really be a Robin alongside Wemby being Batman. Like he needed a bit more. And it got to a certain point. I think it was after game 3. I was like, all right, that's not going to be the case. It can't just be one player. They're going to need Castle. They're going to need Harper. They're going to need Fox. Everyone has to step up and do just a bit more. One extra shot, one extra rebound to be a collective team effort alongside Wemby being the superstar that he is in order to really extend this series. And it didn't get to that point. And maybe it's just because this is their first real taste of postseason success or, anything postseason. If you would have told me last year they won 1 round and then lost, I would have had more confidence in them coming into this series just because they don't know the struggles really of the postseason. And if you were to tell me right now, I'm not sure they make it back next year to the finals. I think they can make it to the conference finals, but they really need to grow a bit more. And they also, I forget who said it after the post game. I think it was maybe Kendrick Perkins. They need some tweaks on the roster. They need to refine just a little bit, one more player, and then I think they'll be a threat in 2 years.
They need some internal growth that will come.
Yes, and that's just going to happen naturally.
Mitch Johnson, who I thought was coach of the year, was horrific in the finals. Mm-hmm. It's funny that you mentioned not thinking there was a great value on the Knicks to win the series. So I love the Knicks to win the series. But I played them every way but like the straight, like plus 160. I took them plus a game and a half and then minus 1.5 and minus 2.5. Because I didn't think the plus 160 did absolutely nothing for me, right? It was okay. Right. At minimum, they're going to, force a 7th game. And then it was, or they're going to continue to roll here, right? And give me, which ended up coming in the whole way. 7-1s on minus 2.5 for this Knicks team. And that's exactly, so it's funny that you mentioned that because as somebody who loved the Knicks in this series, I agreed. As Belgium miss easily their best chance of this match here. Doku really skies one, quite frankly, that he needs to look a lot better. I mean, no, Tom, I don't know if you just saw that.
You're just a few seconds ahead of me on this stream, but yeah, he just skied that one well over the goal. But De Bruyne brought it down pretty cleanly and set him up, but it was just way, way high and way to the right.
Yeah, he hits that cleanly. This might be 1-1. here. But again, we're starting to see Belgium put it together a little bit here. But, look, again, we just saw Spain and Cape Verde, right, Tom? We haven't really discussed it, but, I mean, they finished with a full 2 more expected goals than their opponent. Results a draw. It happens, right? Results a draw for Spain. I don't think it's going to cause a lot of panic, but I know it certainly, impacted people's wallets today. I know that much.
Yeah, I assume people probably had Spain -1.5 or -2.5, just based on what they saw with Germany. They think, oh, it's the opening round. We have this powerhouse. They're going to roll. I assume that they tried to roll it into other teams coming up, either later today with Uruguay versus Saudi Arabia, or maybe France tomorrow, or whatever it might have been. They try to pair it with one of those teams to get you close to even money. But Spain looked good. To an extent, they just didn't get the result that they wanted. And honestly, a fantastic performance by Cape Verde. They were up against it the entire time. I think it was the first 8 or 9 minutes of the game that I was watching. They literally did not have possession of the ball in Spain's half. They were in their half basically the entirety of the first half, and they got a point out of it. And Spain can't afford another draw. They need 2 wins. And really, because they could advance out of the group, but they could be coming in second if Uruguay is able to get a win over Saudi Arabia tonight, eventually get a win over Cape Verde. That could put Spain in second place in the group, advancing out, playing a team that's just as good as them, essentially.
Yeah, it's a good point. The value in the result shifts here now, or the price, on Spain to win that group shifts. I'm very annoyed because in my notes I wrote this was going to be bad for people who, after they just watched Germany Curacao. Like I know that is going to be in people's minds and going to cost them, and yet I myself couldn't find the appropriate way to bet the game. It happened. We'll be right back on SportsGrid. halftime here in Egypt, Belgium, as these two teams are battling in Seattle, Washington. Egypt 1, Belgium 0. Plus 140 for Egypt to win this match, plus 195 for the draw. Belgium now, the longest odds on that three-way money line at plus 220. Your total sitting at 2.5, minus 115 towards the over. Tom, there's always a big menu when we're talking about live soccer. What is the market you're drawn to here in this match?
At this point, it has to be. I mean, Doku is plus 110 to have one or more shots on target. Belgium as a team has no shots on goal. Egypt has 3. So, listen, if Belgium's going to be getting back into it, they got to get some type of offense going. And I don't see that as a bad one. He had that miss there. So, at plus 110, I could talk myself into Doku getting one shot. And really, because if he doesn't get that, it's going to be Egypt all the way, I would have to assume.
Yeah, I think the only thing is that's tough for me. It's kind of there's different markets we talk about this. Like betting the shot on target, wouldn't you rather bet the goal? Like bet that he put the shot on target does find the back of the net?
Sure. I mean, if you're going to do that, I would say decrease the unit size, obviously, just because what's his goal? It's plus 390. So, yeah, I would decrease the unit size instead of going at something a little bit bigger for the plus 110. Decrease it significantly if you're taking plus 390.
Corners stands out to me a little bit in this match. The only thing that's tripping me up, and I'm going to have to now go through a couple of spots here, is the actual count on corners. Because one place is showing me 4 and another is showing me 5, and that obviously makes a difference. I've got 4. It's got to be 4 then. It's going to have to be 4. I think corners
for who?
Total.
Oh, total corners. I see 5 total. I see 4 for Egypt, 1 for Belgium right now.
On ESPN, yes?
Yes.
So on DK, they have it at 4. On Fox, they have it at 4. And the FIFA World website, they have it at 4. So,
so I guess
ESPN gets trumped there, which means we don't have a Belgian corner yet, which is interesting.
Yeah, the corner match bet right now is Egypt minus 150 and Belgium plus 200. So if they're up 4-0, Egypt is. Yeah, that means Belgium needs to get 5 and Egypt gets none in the second half?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could draw. It could draw.
Corey, it could draws.
It could draw.
And FanDuel, if you look to the stats on FanDuel, it says Egypt 4, Belgium 0.
Yep. So that's the number to go off of.
Right.
That Egypt 3-way number on another book, Tom, minus 185.
Oof.
So big difference between minus 150 and minus 185.
Huge.
I'm tempted to, over corners just in general is a little bit interesting to me.
What do you think the race to market? The race to 5 is Egypt minus 200, Belgium plus 270. The race to 6 is Egypt plus 180, Belgium plus 250. So Belgium would have to get 6 before Egypt gets 2 for the race to 6, or the neither is sitting at plus 105.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they basically are like, yeah, we think Egypt will get a corner. We're not sure they get 2. I think Egypt, kind of the way they play, right, counterattacking danger football, it creates chances here. I think I'm going to look for a live over corners bet in this match, Tom. I think is the way I'm going to want to play this one. I'm going to, always try and hunt around for the best juice. Now, Tom, I don't believe I will be talking to you later today. I believe we are on SportsGrid Live tonight for Uruguay and Saudi Arabia. Following, of course, later on in the day, you'll see Iran and New Zealand. Has anything just stood out to you taking a look at those matches?
I might be looking to get Darwin Nunez for Uruguay to score or assist. He's arguably their best player. He does play with Al Hilal in the Saudi Arabian League, so it's a little bit of a different level of skill overall. But if I can get him with a boost closer to even money, Nunez, that's where I'm looking.
All right, over corners in this match. We'll see you later tonight on SportsGrid.
Paid my dues time after time. I've done my sentence, but committed